My name is Ken Matheson, and I'm the writer, director, and editor of Little Moccasins. Little Moccasins is a short documentary, 10 minutes long, about First Nations children. I was really moved by the story. The fact that these children were impressed enough and took the time to discover these children's names, and then go and do a ceremony and honor their names and release it to the Great Spirit in the sky. And it was just a really moving little story. It was a different take on residential schools. Normally we hear about residential schools through survivors or people writing books about it, or all this sort of stuff, but to hear children talking about children, and these children are the exact same age, in that ages of 4 to 12 years old that were involved in these residential schools, and this mirrored the ages of the kids that were actually going down to experience this. So it made it really powerful. It was a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who were looking for a filmmaker. They decided that they wanted to capture this moment, and a woman by the name of Laurie Somerville thought it would make a great film. So she started phoning around, and by the time it got filtered down through all the photographers and news people and everything else, it landed on my desk, and we had 5 days to put the film together in Calgary. Oh man, I've been nervous before, but that took the cake on that one. You're always expecting, as a filmmaker, when it goes up on the screen, the hard drive is going to fail or the projector is going to blow up. So until you get that first couple minutes on the screen, your heart's pumping and your mouth is dry and your palms are sweating. But it was really only the second time I've seen it on a big screen with some of the people that were involved in the film, and it was quite something. I really enjoyed that. There was nothing but quiet in the audience, and people were reaching for tissues halfway through, and it's just a really good feeling that you made something that possibly made a difference. Well, I was blown away. It's probably the only time in my life I was stuck for words. When they called the winning announcement and I walked up to the podium, they wanted me to say a few words, and I was literally speechless. And for anybody that knows me, they find that hard to believe, but it happened. First off, a short film. They're hard to market at the best of times, and it was a short film festival, and they were highlighting the BC filmmakers, and I thought that's a very unique opportunity. Quite often you're up against other competition from around the world, and it's nice to be recognized in your home turf for the work that you do locally. We were accepted into the Canberra Film Festival in Australia as a finalist there. But I think I got way more satisfaction out of seeing it being shown in Vancouver than anywhere. Well, I think you're always looking for validation as a filmmaker, and it's to be taken seriously. It's nice to have some awards or laurels that you can attach to your name. People tend to take you a little more seriously, and I think it's really especially important to have it recognized in your backyard. With fellow peers. With coworkers and industry people that you work with in your communities. And to me, that was the biggest benefit to the entire thing. I had a number of people, filmmakers, that came up to me afterwards and asked, the history of the film and where it was going from there. And we talked back and forth a little bit about making a larger film down the road and, things like that. Some things have worked out. I've made some contacts about possibly enlarging the whole concept. We're just waiting to see how that pans out. We're looking at expanding the film into including other industrial schools that started up in the 1880s. Originally there was 3 industrial schools that were started up in Canada, and they were the basis for the residential system. They were run by the federal government, and eventually they were taken over by the churches, and then that morphed into the residential school system. So really they were kind of the seeds of despair, which is what the title of the movie will be. We did 2 films for BC Parks, for the Ministry of Environment on the Bowen Lake Canoe Circuit. We did some short documentary films for local community organizations up in the Clearwater area. And we're working on 2 in that area, one about a tiger moth aircraft that we're trying to recover from a lake, and I'm also working on another film on systemic abuse within the RCMP with female RCMP members. I think just make films, work from your heart, follow what you believe, and just make films and submit them out there. it's amazing sometimes what can be accomplished with them. And the film circuit can be intimidating. You have to get used to rejection a lot, and just keep trying, and sooner or later it'll come through for you.